Bharat's growth story. The Great Nicobar Infrastructure Project aims to transform southernmost tip of Andaman and Nicobar Islands into a strategic economic and logistical hub. But at the same time, it faces criticism for downplaying environmental and tribal welfare in the sensitive zone. Here's a deep dive. One of Bharat's most ambitious infrastructure and development initiatives in the Andaman and Nicobar Islands. Spearheaded by the Niti Aayog and implemented through the Andaman and Nicobar Islands Integrated Development Corporation, the project aims to transform the Great Nicobar Island, the southernmost island of Bharat, into a hub of economic and strategic significance. Now, with a projected cost exceeding 70,000 crore, it combines port development, airports, townships, renewable energy systems and tourism zones. However, the project is deeply debated due to its environmental, social and geopolitical implications. Now, here are the key components of the project. Transshipment port at the Galathea Bay. The purpose is to reduce Bharat's dependence on Singapore, Colombo and Port Klang for container transshipment. The strategic advantage is that it is positioned near the Malacca Strait, a critical global trade route. Greenfield International Airport to connect Great Nicobar with the global destination, supporting both civil aviation and strategic military operations. Tourism and hospitality zone. The government aims for the development of ecotourism and high-end resorts to promote the islands as international tourist destination. Power and energy infrastructure, namely renewable energy sources like solar and wind, will be targeted to meet sustainability goals, supplemented by natural gas-based plants. Modern township, designed to house around 3.5 lakh people by 2050, including urban infrastructure, health and education facilities. What's the strategic importance? The island lies close to the Malacca Strait, through which nearly 40% of global trade passes. A major transshipment port here would enhance Bharat's maritime influence and reduce vulnerability to regional powers like China. This also strengthens Bharat's military logistics in the Indo-Pacific, providing a base for naval and air surveillance, and aims to make Bharat a key player in global shipping, logistics and supply chains. But what are the concerns? There are major environmental concerns linked to the project. Over 8 lakh trees, including old growth tropical rainforests, are expected to be felled. Great Nicobar is home to pristine evergreen forests, among the richest biodiversity zones in Bharat. It is home to endangered species such as the Nicobar megapod, leatherback sea turtles and saltwater crocodiles. Coral reefs and mangroves face destruction due to dredging and coastal construction. The island is in a highly seismically active zone. Rising sea levels and extreme weather events pose long-term risks to infrastructure. Moreover, Great Nicobar is home to the Shompenes and Nicobarese. Large-scale migration and urbanization may disrupt their traditional lifestyles, livelihoods and cultural identity. Expansion projects may force indigenous communities to relocate, raising ethical and humanitarian concerns. The union government has argued that the project will generate employment opportunities, strategic depth and economic growth. Environmental approvals have been granted with mitigation measures like compensatory afforestation, turtle conservation plans and tribal welfare schemes. But critics argue these safeguards are inadequate given the ecological fragility of the island. Now, one of those voices is Congress leader Sonia Gandhi, who in an op-ed has said, and I quote, "The misplaced 72,000 crore expenditure poses an existential danger to the island's indigenous tribal communities." She argued that the ancestral villages of Nicobarese tribals falls within the project's proposed land area and they will be forced to evacuate their villages. They were already forced in the past during the 2004 Indian Ocean tsunami. She claims the project will permanently displace this community. Sonia Gandhi says the project denotifies a significant part of the Shompen tribal reserve, destroys the forest ecosystems and will cause large-scale influx of people and tourists on the island, adding that constitutional and statutory bodies established to preserve tribal rights have been sidestepped. But what's the bottom line here, viewers? The Great Nicobar project represents the clash between development and conservation in one of Bharat's most ecologically and culturally sensitive regions. While its strategic and economic promises are undeniable, the project raises big questions about sustainability, indigenous rights, and climate resilience. For Bharat to truly benefit, the project must adopt a balanced approach, integrating ecological preservation with development. But the strategic and economic advantages can't be underplayed as Bharat expands its sphere of influence and flexes its might in its neighborhood for the mission of Atmanirbharta and a Shresht and Sashakt Bharat.